Don't leave the table just yet. Carver's offering up another course. Here's your look at the new NECA Toys Thanksgiving Ultimate John Carver action figure, no leftovers. From Eli Roth's 2023 slasher hit Thanksgiving comes a second ultimate action figure of the holiday killer. Donning his turkey apron, John Carver is ready to cook an unforgettable feast with a cornucopia of new accessories. This articulated 7-inch scale action figure comes with soft goods apron, interchangeable mask and microphone, bloody mask, melted mask, axe, electric cutter, cooking timer, cell phone on stand, pitchfork, kitchen knife, carving fork and corkscrew, plus multiple interchangeable hands to hold his bounty of unconventional weapons. I think before we begin, should we check with Dad to see if he's going to carve the roast again this year? Mom's also been cooking in the kitchen, and whatever she's been cooking, smells delish. We're going to take the tape measure, and we're going to see just how tall John Carver stands. And of course, this John Carver essentially just is using the original Ultimate John Carver with a few extra fixings. If I'm looking at this correctly, and I like to think that I am, John Carver with his pilgrim hat is going to clock in at 8 inches in height, working out to be a figure that's 20 centimeters tall. Remind me to give thanks to the Postal Service and the reasoning why I never got the chance to get this review up in October, when here in Canada we would celebrate the holiday of thanks. Still, though, I have time to get this up before in November, the holiday is going to be celebrated in the United States. As said, though, already, this is essentially just using the original John Carver Ultimate figure, though what they've now done differently is giving a different mask, and they've slapped on a new soft goods apron that wasn't on there before. So you're telling us that NECA's just double-dipped the same John Carver figure to ship out a seasonal second helping? Well, yes and no. The figure's body, is going to still be the same, but he comes with a plethora of accessories that weren't on the original John Carver release. The first John Carver did come include with a couple of different knives. He came with the musket, the dart gun, the sledgehammer, and the dated axe. He does technically come include with an axe, but it's not the same axe as before. This axe actually has a different colored head altogether, and this one looks certainly like it's more brand new. It's not sharp to the touch, so while I'm doing what I'm doing right now, I'm not worrying at all that I'm going to be drawing any bit of blood. It does get wielded in his hands because the figure does actually have quite a lot of hands. What's odd, though, is that on the ends of his hands, he comes included with hands that are kind of more suitable for the dart gun, even though really the figure doesn't come included with that one. The figure does, though, have a couple of various different gripping hands, really a lot more hands than I think he necessarily needs. This is always something that really NECA does do a lot of. They release a figure and then they give you a whole bunch of... Now, I understand, obviously, these hands are for either side, so it's not just a case of that. But if you then really start to look at some of the other hands, they're not that much different from one another. That then it really does ask the question, why can't they just assign the plastic as something else? Now, I don't suspect they're going to give us a human-sized oven, although that would be a nice additional feature. But one thing, though, I certainly would think is I don't think they necessarily need to throw in as many hands as they do. This one is a little bit different, but all the rest of the hands are so close to one another. If to grab then just one of them and grab another one, you would just think, well, aren't they just the exact same hand? They're not that much different from one another. This one does have, though, I guess to be fair, a thumb a little further up, but the grip itself, almost very similar. The accessories also can continue as well. The figure does come also include with this pitchfork. Now, the first initial John Carver didn't come include with a pitchfork. This one does have, though, the prongs. Would it be the prongs on the end of a pitchfork? I don't know. Maybe. These are very soft in plastic, though. I do like that they've added some age to it, so it does look like it's been something that he just found. It's not something that he just brought brand new in a store. The figure, yes, does come include with a knife, but it's not the same knife as the original John Carver. He also comes include with a fork. Care for some dark meats? Such a gross scene. But he does come include with those as well. And to pour again a tall glass of red. The figure does also come include with a corkscrew. Now, if you've seen any of the movie, I mean, certainly the gory ending of that, you'll know that John Carver doesn't actually open up a bottle of red. He gets the red from another source. He does also come include with a timer. That's really cool. And a timer doesn't actually have anything that rotates. I guess it would be a fun touch if this could actually turn. But it does have, though, a nice little touch of actually painting the bell on the back of this. This is completely open, by the way. Now, I guess he does have a hand technically for holding this. Where's the hand? Where's the hand? Did I have the hand over here? I think I did. Or maybe I did swap out the hand. Well, no, he has this hand, which I guess you could technically fit the hand like I did at the beginning of this review. Kind of wedge the timer in between that. You could, I suppose, also heat this up again with hot water, and that might be an easier thing to fit the timer in there in his hand that way. Lastly, though, I guess the last two things the figure does also come included with is he does also have the way to show everybody, the world, what exactly he's cooking that night. The little portable camera and the tripod stand are all one piece. But I think it's really nice the fact that they actually put in the little wording here, like everybody's watching the show. I would love to get my hands at some point on a large tabletop, just a fold-out table. I guess would there be one of this size, and I could put like all the fixins on there. I don't know. Will we ever get though a Thanksgiving accessory set? You can only really imagine what would be the centerpiece of an accessory set. Probably a little too gross for NECA. The figure does also come included with the carving knife. Zzz, yeah, lots of blood all over that as well. And again, all of these weapons can be wielded. I say weapons, generally these would just be things that you find in the house, other than maybe the pitchfork, but all of them can be held though in his hands, again, providing that you use the proper hands. This hand, for example, the ones that he currently has right now, you just, again, stretch the fingers just a little bit, and you can get the carving knife into his hand. Now, for me, displaying this guy, two things I'll end up really doing. I'm going to display it though with a little microphone piece. Again, this is the way he communicates with everybody else. And then I'm probably going to have him displayed, though, with the electric carving knife. It just feels right. Of the other accessories, though, that come included with John Carver, these are like a lot more of the same. Now, the figure does come included with a couple of swappable face plates. The one that he has, for example, is one that's covered with a little bit of blood, and then he has one that he leaves on the top of the oven, and of course it starts to melt. So it comes included with those. The thing about it, though, is just to grab the original Ultimate John Carver, he had pretty much the exact same masks, down to the point that even like the individual droplets of blood seemed to be in the exact same spot, to almost really the point that I had to worry about which one belonged to this John Carver and which one belonged to the Ultimate. And I think I've separated them well enough. Even when it comes to really the burning masks. The burnt masks, this is again the new one that we get from the No Leftovers edition. This is the original John Carver melted mask. Very similar. This one actually is a little easier to spot. There's a lot more dark area on this side of the figure's face, and a little less of that on the original John Carver. One thing, though, that is unique about the Leftovers edition is, again, that this John Carver does also have the headset and microphone. This microphone is a very thin plastic. So maybe I would even recommend don't do what I'm doing right now, because there is the risk that that could potentially break. Changing out the masks is the same way as the original John Carver. First, you remove his pilgrim hat. Then you'll remove his faceplate. Now, this is the same face that we got with the My Bloody Valentine Minor, where that if you take the face off, you have a shocked face underneath with a big obnoxious slit right in their top. Now, from there, you just essentially take the mask that you want to use. So let's just take the burn mask, for example. And on the inside of each of the masks, there's a little lip of plastic. Just line it up to the slot that's on the face, put it in place, and then where's the pilgrim hat? Pilgrim hat's right there. So you essentially can really do the exact same thing that this John Carver did. With this, again, John Carver, you just lift up the hat, take the hat off, replace it out. And let's just say, again, like you don't want to necessarily take the apron off, because I wouldn't really take the apron off of this one. I'd never be able to tie it up as cleanly as NECA did on the back of their figure. But let's say you didn't want to have John Carver with the apron. You could then just use the headset mic piece, put that on his head, put the pilgrim hat back in place, and then you'd have the two John Carvers displayed that way if you want instead. The bodies are going to be exactly the same. There's nothing really at all that's different between the two. The only one notable other thing that's different about this is that this one also has the Thanksgiving apron. It's a soft goods material, and the way that they've tied this up is a lot better than what I would have done. I would have just untied this, but basically what it would only really be is the body of John Carver underneath. There's nothing at all that they've changed between the two figures. So really what it does then boil down to is, again, you've just got yourself a brand new mask, which isn't really, again, necessarily this one. And now you've got the apron, and then you got the additional accessories. I think, though, that's well worth it for the price of what they're asking for. I mean, the Leftovers edition of John Carver is really just the same price as the original Ultimate John Carver. And again, with you have unique accessories, I think it's really well worth it. For the figure's articulation, now again, like they're going to have a little bit more limitations right around here just because the apron's going to be getting in the way. But John Carver's articulation, this was probably the easier head to use because, again, like I don't have to worry about the microphone getting in the way. His head's going to be on a ball joint. So you know what? We'll just take that off for a second. Head's going to be on a ball joint. So John Carver's head's going to move up and down. It's going to rotate forward and back. And it's also going to rock as well. It's really tight, though. You could probably even hear it for yourself. One thing also I really have to worry about, too, is as you're turning this, the loop that goes around the neck for, of course, holding on the apron, I feel is really close to the head like this. So when you're turning it, you want to make sure that you're not pulling against the cord, just in case that rips. The arms do rotate obviously all the way around, same as the original John Carver, but you're not really going to be able to bring out the arms any bit more than 45 degrees. I feel like there's a possibility that these could go even further, but with the way that it's stubborn like this, I don't want to force it for, again, those same reasons as essentially like the way that apron's wrapped around. He does have a swivel here in his bicep. Oh, more so actually not so much in the bicep, but the joint just below that. He has an elbow joint and he has it by two. So this joint right here, and there's a joint right here. Between those two, John Carver does actually have a double bend in his elbow. Hands rotate, though, all the way around. Hinge back and forth there as well. And again, like, things get a little messy here, a little harder to kind of get access to. The figure does what seems like ball joints or something working behind the scenes. Like, if we look at like the original John Carver, there's like a more of a softer torso area right here where like the figure does feel like there's a crunch that you can bend it back and forth. It doesn't necessarily stay in that pose, but it does feel like there's something underneath, essentially like the coveralls that they gave him. This John Carver works essentially the same, but you're going to have even more limitations just because the apron's going to be getting in the way. Legs split out, and boy, oh boy, do they ever split out far. You can take the legs and move forward. You can move them back as well. There's a swivel there at the top of the thigh, a single hinge only in the knee, which is, again, really tight on my figure, but the lower leg does also rotate back and forth. Up and down goes the feet, back and forth the feet go too. The one thing, unfortunately, though, is it's a good thing, at least, that they put pegs on the bottoms of the figure's feet. The downside, though, to it is, as you can see, like in the movie, he wears more like running shoes, sneakers. So because of that, he doesn't have completely flat feet. So this John Carver may have a harder time to stand. But again, you can always, again, really use a display stand. For displaying this guy on the shelf, I'd likely go back to the way he originally was when I first took this guy out of his plastic prison. Take off this mask, and we'll just, again, replace it with a burnt mask here. And just have him displayed this way. And then with all the cavalcade of accessories that the figure comes included with, there's lots of good stuff to go around. Again, like, it's a really well worth figure, even though, again, like, this John Carver is essentially, again, using the same menu, really, as he had last year. When was the last time we got the Ultimate John Carver? Was it last year? I think it was last year. While the menu is still sticking the same. The least, though, you're getting some new accessories that weren't on the initial John Carver. It's really, again, well worth it, I think, to get both releases of him, because not only, again, are you benefiting from getting an apron with the figure that wasn't with him before, but you're getting brand new accessories, like, for example, the carving knife, like the timer, like the knife, like the fork, like an axe, like a pitchfork. All of these things, again, that John Carver can use to exact his revenge. This guy is available right now, either in stores or online. I didn't have any luck, obviously, finding this guy in the stores, but I did have better luck finding him online, and he sells really for about the same price as the original John Carver. So for that, you're getting, again, brand new accessories, new mask, which is, again, good, and you're getting the benefit of the apron. All the more reasons to give thanks that NECA released this guy a second time around. While John Carver's revenge may have come about after the riot at Right Mart, I don't know if there's a reason why collectors have to riot NECA Toys for releasing a double dipping of the exact same figure. Yes, though, while underneath the apron and a brand new mask, there is really just the same John Carver figure as before, there's at least enough changes and enough new thrown in accessories that I think that justifies getting his figure again. Yeah, one benefit, though, at least, is the figure does have exactly the same masks. So let's just say, for example, you didn't want to get the first Ultimate John Carver. I don't know why you would want to pass on it, but at least, though, you don't have to be committed to the idea that this figure has to have the little mouthpiece mask. Yeah, you could easily just take the apron off if you wanted to. Then you could use one of the other two masks on the figure and essentially just have the regular John Carver underneath. But again, like, most likely, collectors that have already picked up this figure have probably picked it up because they already picked up the first Ultimate John Carver figure and loved what NECA did with him. I certainly do like what John Carver had done to his victims throughout the course of the movie. Some really brutal, really gory kill scenes in that movie, leading up to, again, the big feast at the end of the movie. What do you guys, though, think of the no leftovers version of John Carver? Well worth the pickup, or a total pass on your plates? If you guys did also enjoy this video, you can do it a solid and throw it a like. If you guys want to stick around for more, I hope so. Hit that subscribe, turn on that bell, and of course come back. If you guys need a fix, more for your feast, and you want to check out other reviews that I've done for NECA in the past, popping up at the very end, a shameless plug to a playlist, there'll be all the other NECA reviews that I've done showing up at the very end of this video. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.